Because you know,
there's a
like F3 was the first bike that I can fit on. You know, that was the first one.
well, quick story on that. When I was working with BRP and their R&D program, and I get to test a lot of the prototypes. One day, a couple of the execs came up to me. I was actually at the engineering building in Valcourt, and they said, "We want to build a new Spyder, and we want it to be a cruiser type Spyder, and we would like to sit down with you and tell me what you think it should have." And so we sat down, we had a dinner, and we had a yellow pad and basically penciled out everything that I thought a cruising Spyder, how I would build it. And the end result was the F3. And one of the things that I really focused on was the ergonomics, and told them that, you need adjustable ergonomics. And I based that off of my boss house. My boss house had sliding controls to where you could put the feet wherever you wanted it, and it was unique to that particular bike. So BRP did their version of it, and then of course the handlebars that weren't fixed, different size handlebars, and being able to see the engine, and the main thing was sitting in the bike and not on the bike. So that was the one complaint I always had about the Spyder is you felt like you're sitting on top of it. In a cruiser, you need to feel like you're sitting into the bike. So after writing a few of the prototypes, they all had code names and all that. But I remember walking into the boardroom, and they had a bunch of dealers in the boardroom. And after we all got the demo ride, one of the VP of marketing, he said, "Well, how did we do, Lamont?" And that was a pretty good feeling for me, because I know that they actually built that bike off of things that I had suggested.
You know what, Lamont? I thought like I started to like you after this conversation, but hearing this story about you writing prototypes and stuff like that, I think I'm going backwards. And again, I'm just jealous and pissed and, like typical.
But hey, it's not. I got to tell you, it's not easy to the information that I had and they trusted me with. I mean, we're talking bikes 3 and 4 years out before production
Yeah.
that I knew about and had ridden. And I'd see all these internet things come up about, well, my dealer says this is it. And I would just want to tell them, no, that's not true.
Yeah.
This is what it's going to be like, but I had to wait, till it's released.
I think like this is 2 years old, right? Like, let me show it to you first. So,
Yeah, that's rolled up with nitrous, and yeah,
yeah.
that's kind of the bike that really started my whole Lamonster career. Um, I just started customizing stuff the way I wanted it. Yeah. Now that particular bike, it's got a supercharger on it. It's got a progressive nitrous system on it, which it would basically allow me to ramp up the nitrous instead of a hard hit. And I also had flamethrowers on it. I could shoot flames about 6 foot to the rear of me as I'm going down the road.
And you know
So
who's gonna have flamethrower on an F3?
you got to have that. Okay.
Yeah.
That's when I realized that.
Now let me ask you, because I'm crazy dude, right? And America, it's everything about drag racing, so I understand the NAS thing. Just highly hypothetically, is it possible to put NAS on a Spyder? Would it have any effect?
Well, you can. The thing about modifying motorcycles, and this is what I found out with the Valkyrie, with the 109, and of course I wound up with the Boss Haas and V8 choppers, 500 horsepower motorcycles. But anytime you introduce NOS into any kind of motor, um, you really have to be careful, because it's really good at grenading motors.
And how did you end up with the Lamonster Garage as we know it these days, like aftermarket parts for Spyders and RYKERs these
Well,
days?
I bought I had just sold a custom VTX that I built. It was in all the magazines, and it was actually in Honda's Red Rider magazine. I did a total custom of that. Cut the frame, rigged it out, built my own Softail suspension, and really started a revolution as far as customizing the VTX. Well, I had sold that bike, and I had money burning a hole in my pocket, and I saw a YouTube video of the Spyder.
No, you
And,
cannot see YouTube video. There was no YouTube at that
oh
age.
yeah,
You know, like
2007 is when they started showing it,
okay,
and
okay.
I was really intrigued by it. I thought for the money, and back then I think it was I think the GS was only like $13,000 or something like that. They bumped it up another thousand a little bit later, but anyway, I put money on it, sight unseen.
Like
Put $1,000 down on it. Yeah,
for those
put
that
thousand
don't.
dollars
Yeah.
down on it, and there was only two dealerships on the East Coast, and one of them was a company that sold chainsaws, and the other one was a dealership
Okay.
in Tampa. So it was kind of a high risk to sight unseen and to buy this thing. Um, I was down in Daytona for Biketoberfest, and I was asked to show my 109 for Suzuki, and I was in the tent there, and BRP was set up right next to me doing demos, and that's actually the first time I ever saw a Spyder. And rode it. I actually flew from Tennessee to Tampa to pick it up, and I rode it back about 600 miles. And I got to say, I never had buyer's remorse as much as I did when I bought that Spyder. I was about 200 miles into it. I thought, this thing is going to kill me. I was all over the road. I was trying to ride it like a motorcycle. It was just too fast to be on the road and uncontrollable because I was doing everything wrong. And about 200 miles into the ride, I decided, this is more like my four-wheeler than it is a motorcycle. So I started driving it like my four-wheeler. And then it kind of clicked, and I started relaxing, and I kind of let the Spyder do its own thing. And on the way home there, I decided I want my feet right here, and that's when I designed the first part for the Spyder, and that was the highway brackets. And that basically one thing led to another. I built handlebar risers for the GS, and then really just started making it my own and things that I wanted. And really all our parts at the Monster Garage, well, I won't say all of them, but the majority comes out of a need. Um,
Mhm.
it's a need from a writer's standpoint. I don't just look at what I can sell and think I can make a lot of money on it. I look at what I need for comfort or for to stand out in the crowd or whatever.
Lamont, tell me about that crazy project for and introduce it by yourself because Joanne brought you the nice pictures and stuff. So can you show it to a camera,
Oh,
please?
okay. Yeah. Well, let's see if I can put this in here. This is a bike for the Road Warrior Foundation, and see if I can get this
That's
going.
F3T, right?
Yeah, this is a F3T, and it was donated by BRP, and really the Road Warrior Foundation. We met the guys in two, 2015 when we were debuting the F3, and these guys are. I have three boys, and two of them were in the Marine Corps and one in the Air Force, and I really felt like these guys were kind of like my boys. They just had a special place in my heart. And we got to know them in Daytona, and we wanted to do something for them and with them. And BRP obviously they embraced them, and they've been big supporters through the years and giving them bikes for the guys to ride and even gear. It's just been an amazing thing Joan and I have been fortunate to do a few rides with them. But this particular bike was one that was donated to the Road Warriors, so they could auction it off and get some money for it for their next ride. And it's, for me, it's a very special bike, mainly because that particular bike I was building when I found out that I had cancer, liver cancer. This was September of 2018, and they actually picked up the bike during my rally. It was our Spyders in the Ozark rally when I got the phone call saying that I had tumors and I had issues. And shortly after that weekend, I got really sick and was hospitalized and almost died a couple times. But that particular bike, for whatever dumb reason, that was the reason I was hanging on. One of the reasons I was hanging on and fighting was because I thought about these road warriors and what the injuries they had been through. And I heard their stories, and I know about their operations, and I know how they were, just the stuff that these guys went through serving our country. And I had to be strong for them, just to I don't know. I wanted to have their strength, and I drew on their stories and where they are today because they got through those bad times, and it was a big deal for me. And we got a phone call, and I was still pretty sick. But yeah, I was in the emergency room, but found out that the bike had auctioned off at Barrett Jackson for $186,000. So, is that $186,000 Spyder? Well, technically it kind of is, but really it was all about the patriotism. And the guy that originally bought it, it ramped up to $100,000. And when he won it, he says, auction it again, send it off. So he gave it back to the foundation. And when it was all said and done, the total for the bike for that event was $186,000. It has actually since been re-gifted again to the Road Warriors and auctioned again. This time it brought it, I want to say $22,000, $26,000, more of what it's really worth. But that bike that particular bike brought in over $200,000.
That's amazing, man. That's
pretty amazing.
That's 200,000 times more than I ever did for somebody. So that's just amazing. If I really imagine, like, and not only about like aftermarket parts, but the picture that you have on a Spyder Lovers, the forum, the Lamonster, and I think I will be speaking for everyone. Lamont is the face of Can-Am. Do whatever, think whatever. It's true, and I was shocked when I heard the story that what you're going through, and the thing is, like, but Joanne, she replied to one of my questions, like, I was asking people, like, what you riding, what's the stuff that you take with you, and Joanne said, like, all I need is Lamonster, and that's kind of an answer to also, like, who can fight the bloody fucking cancer? It's Lamont, so you will do it, cross fingers and sending love, so, and you got the support of the biggest and best community in the world, which is our Spyder community, because your store, so you have like 2 buildings there, and these bikes, these are the current ones, right?
Yes.
The red one is Jacobs, right?
Jacobs, and that's gone through a lot of changes since then. The middle one is Joan.
Yeah.
And then
that's yours.
The one on the far right is the very first F3 that I built for BRP to show in Daytona.
The thing is, like, is it possible to ride without the cover on that sprocket?
Well, sure. You can. And basically, typically bike builders, in the industry, you basically take everything off. You don't put things on. You run, take the guards off, take everything off. That just show off the parts, you know, and that's what I wanted to do on that particular build. It's just kind of show things off and get some color coordination. Yeah, that was a $6,000 paint job done by Curie's Hot Rod, which is
Okay,
my actually right over here.
that's some serious money there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a serious paint. It was such a good paint job. Everybody thought it was a wrap. In the bike world, in a real bike show, uh, the paint is one of the big things of a custom bike. Uh, Nobody puts decals on a bike and show it at the rat's hole, you know, like that 109. That one you showed of my 109, that's one of the most prestigious shows in the world, actually,
Okay.
called the Rat's Hole. And I got first place in my class for heavy metric cruiser. And one of the defining things was I actually rode my bike to that show, which everybody else trailers to them, you know, so it's all pristine. I rode over 600 miles to show my bike, and I won it. And the judges took note of that.
Um, that what are the three most amazing things you would put on every Spyder? And I don't know, do you remember what you have replied?
I don't.
You don't. Because there is a question about the laser alignment. Uh, I think the Ellen is asking this. And that's the thing I don't have here in Europe. And so can you tell a little bit more about it? Because I have heard only good things about the laser alignment, especially done by you, because it's not only like technical thing. You need to understand what you're doing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's like anything. You can go out and buy the tools. I mean, I could buy a wood lathe and a miter saw and all that, but if you don't know how to use them, it doesn't do any good. And that we found out that at the beginning, when people were buying laser alignment tools in dealerships mostly, they didn't really know what they were doing. And I was fortunate to work with Rollo at first, and we kind of learned together, you know, what needed to be done. You know, one of the things they didn't even realize at the time is you got to have buds if you do a laser alignment, because you have to readjust the steering angle sensor and torque sensor. And if you don't do those things, you're going to wind up with a bike that's worse than what you started with. So all you know, the computer all have to work together. And we've literally done thousands of alignments. And that's, as a Spyder owner, they come aligned from the factory and they're within their specifications, but they're not perfect. And some of them are actually way off, and I don't know why. But a good majority of them are way off. So what we do is we make them perfect. And the difference in the ride and handling characteristic is pretty huge. I mean, I've literally had people come and give me a big hug. And these are guys that thought their bike was fine. And then they rode it after I got done, and they just gave me a hug and said, I had no idea that my bike was supposed to handle that.
If you change your front shocks, will you lose your alignment?
No. And we weren't actually sure about that. So we did a before and after alignment after changing the suspension. It has no effect on the alignment. So that's, and the same thing with the sway bar and all that. Basically, on the laser alignment, the only time you have to redo a laser alignment is if your components start to wear out and you need to change them out. If you hit like a giant pothole and things don't seem right, chances are you bent something. That would be another reason to have the alignment checked. But basically, the alignment should be good unless you actually change them part or have some sort of accident.
That you would always put apart from laser alignment and sway
Well,
bar.
a sway bar. I mean, handling is a big thing on the Spyder. If it handles good, you feel confident. We definitely, laser alignment would be the first thing that for us we charge $100, and we actually if we put it on and and check everything, and it looks like it's good, it's free. We don't charge anything. That maybe happened a couple dozen times total. It just, the odds are in our favor. We're going to need to correct it. The next thing would be the sway bar. That's the next budget thing you can do, is to upgrade the sway bar and lengths. And the two things that are most important on that, if you ride two up, for sure I would add the Bajaran sway bar. If you're an aggressive rider, for sure I'd add the Bajaran sway bar, anti-sway bar actually.
Yeah.
And
He
then
he just named it wrong, you know. Everybody knows it as a sway bar, but
right, right. And then the next thing is the Elga suspension. I've actually been using Elga suspension since 2008, I believe, was when I first got to them. And we're actually the distributor for Elga, and we worked with John from the beginning. And they were the first ones to build a aftermarket suspension for the Spyder, and they are the leaders in aftermarket.
you know, and we are getting to the next question. When I ask you, like, what is the, and I will beat it. I'm telling you, I will beat it. What is the furthest distance that anybody has come to visit Lamont? You know, or going better said, Lamonster Garage.
To the Lamonster Garage? Well, we had a guy, was it the Mexico? Oh, yeah, that's right. We had people come here from Honduras, which I forgot about that. Yep, they rode their F3s from Honduras to come, and they came with a group.
It's going to be challenging, uh, but my big dream is to send the beast to the US, start in Boston, eat lobsters, and ride all the way through America, you know, and visit you guys. And that will make me the furthest, you know, distant customer joining and visiting, and, you know, and
That'd be
definitely
awesome.
I would love to do the laser alignment. I'm very sad we don't have it in Europe. We've been discussing together something. Maybe we'll be, because there is another question, you know, why I'm not selling Lamonster products in Europe, because I have just opened my shop, and you can see it right over there. We've been discussing something with Lamont. We are cooking something, so stay tuned, guys. Hopefully we'll do something, because Lamont, and I'm always and only I will be selling things that I personally believe and that I personally want to put on my bike. And it's not because Lamont is on the line. I can easily say, no, we are not going that direction, or I could avoid this question. But I love his products. I love his partners like Byron. So definitely, that's one thing actually for me, Lamont. I bought it from you guys, the sway bar. And for me, the sway bar is just, there are so many copies. There are copies on the market, but staying with Byron or Baharon or whatever is
Bajaran, yeah.
Baharon, that's the best thing for me.
The thing that has made the Monster work from day one is the bikes that we sell parts for are bikes that I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
Ones that I love, and it's not hard for me to transition to doing things for them, because I'm excited about them, you know, and that excitement is somewhat contagious, and that's why we've done well. You know, we are passionate about the product. We're not just retailers. We didn't even start off to be retailers. We're guys that love the ride and make our rides better for us, and that helps make it better for others. And some of the things that we do, we make things, see, shorter stature riders. You know, we'll make risers and different things to make it easier for people that are shorter to ride. So
Do you do something for tall people?
you know what? The highway brackets is what we do for tall people, you know, basically to stretch out. I appreciate the invite to be on your first show, and I wish you success in your new venture. I know your videos will be killer, that's for sure.
Thank you, and definitely, guys, stay tuned. Visit LamonsterGarage.com for goodies because summer season is coming, and it's always good, to have something new on your bike. Visit MartinTheVlogger.com. I'm pretty sure we will do something with Lamont to have his stuff down in Europe because we will kill that expensive shipping. So definitely that. So stay tuned. Lamont, it was my pleasure. Greetings to Joanne. Thank you very much for being patient with us.